Hi everyone. Since Fae Farm released, I have been playing it very consistently and have over 100 plus hours in that game. This video will be my overall and final thoughts on the game, as I have done a review before, but that was with 20 hours, so this will be a more updated review and will most likely be my last review on Fae Farm. Before I start going over the review aspect, I just want to talk about everything that I was able to get done within that time period. So overall, I have 117 hours in Fae Farm, although as you'll see later, a lot of those hours are not actually from me really enjoying and playing the game. So in this time frame, I got all of the skills to level 20, caught every single bug and fish, found every flower color and combination, and I also got almost every animal color and pretty much did every achievement in the game. The problem I ran into was with the job quest, because I have actually done all of the job quests except one of them, and that one I just couldn't complete due to a bug. So this bug aspect of the game will be going into my final review, as I encountered quite a few as I was playing it overall. And as someone who likes to be completionist with certain games and do all of the achievements, this one was very disappointing for me, as I now cannot 100% the game even if I wanted to or spent hours on it. So firstly, I want to talk about the story of Fae Farm. So the story aspect of Fae Farm is very linear, and there aren't really any ways you can go away from the story in order to progress from the game. You have to do the story to unlock most of the areas in Fae Farm, as well as the dungeons and other things that I don't really want to spoil. This could be either a positive or negative depending on the person. I know some people like doing the story in order and then doing everything within a certain chronological order, and some people want to go and do their own thing and then finish the story up at a later time. But with Fae Farm, you can't really do that. You have to go through the story in order to unlock a lot of the things that you would need to do. One thing about the story, in my opinion, is that it's written kind of shallow. There isn't really much depth to it. But because Fae Farm doesn't really seem to be too focused on the storytelling, I'm not really going to go too deep into this aspect because it doesn't seem like it's their main focus. So I can understand why they didn't put that many resources into the writing of the game. So overall, if you like linear stories, this would be good for you, but if you like doing other things and going out to explore and then leaving the story for later, Fae Farm's probably not the game you want to play, because you are kind of forced to do things in a certain order in order to unlock things. Now for my most disappointing and just the worst part of Fae Farm, which is the relationships. I already kind of talked about this in my last review video of Fae Farm, but basically the characters are like hollow shells. Like, they have no personality, there is no emotion to it, and the writing is really, really bad. They kind of have very repetitive lines that they just say all the time. It's kind of hard to differentiate each of their personalities from each other because they kind of do say the same things. It's kind of like Fae Farm, the writers just put like a whole bunch of text in one page and then chose like for the characters to randomly choose from those lines, and they all kind of mention the same things over and over again. For example, sometimes you resolve one of the conflicts, and almost every time the dialogue that you open with them, they're like, "Oh, I'm so happy you fixed this thing," even though it's been like a long time since you already fixed the issue. So it just feels very lifeless and very boring. And it makes the whole relationship / marriage aspect of the game all that less enjoyable because of this. And I did end up doing marriage for the achievement, and after the marriage in Fae Farm, it's like a small ceremony, which I think the ceremony itself was cute and actually had a bit of dialogue, and you get to choose your wedding outfit. But after that, the person that you marry just sits on your farm and does nothing. They just kind of are just there. So in general, if you like relationships and the building aspect of getting to know the character, getting to become friends with them, and then later going on to the romance part, you absolutely would not like Fae Farm. It is probably the worst part of the game, and it seems like they put zero effort into this. This is also one of the things that a lot of people were complaining about and they kept asking for improvement on. I don't know if we'll ever get it, but this is something that you should know if you do plan on buying it, or if you just want my opinion on what the relationships in Fae Farm are like. Now for the skills in Fae Farm, there's a decent selection of skills, like different things that you could do to occupy your time. And I don't really have much of a complaint about the skills, other than fishing, which I still do not like. It is the only skill that felt genuinely painful to level up, and I wish I could get the time back I spent on it. But it's too late for that now, because I honestly just do not know why they made fishing the way they did. I know some people enjoy the fishing. I just don't, because you kind of are just sitting there waiting to get the fish on your hook, and then there is no skill-based thing, so even if you're really good at a certain aspect, you can't make it faster. And then this XP you get from fishing goes by really, really slow as well. So overall, I didn't really enjoy the fishing. The other skills I had no problem with. The combat was fun. There are different magic spells you can use to make different activities faster, or to make things easier, or resources faster to gather. The mining was cool. I mean, there were different ores that you could get and make them into different ingots and then sell them for quite a bit of money, as well as the gems. And then on top of that, the animals, they were nice. I enjoyed the animals, but it is like with other farming sims, I have noticed it gets kind of repetitive when you have that cycle of getting up in the morning and then going to gather the materials you get from the animals. It's just like a cycle that you have to do every day. So that gets kind of boring, but it's not really like the worst thing ever. It's just kind of like you spend an hour of the day doing that. And then as for the other skills, they're not really super notable. Like the cooking was fine. You just, were able to process different materials and then make food out of them. And overall, the skills were well balanced. I like that you pretty much had to use every skill depending on what you needed to do. You use cooking and potions very often. You use the furnace pretty often and the gem polisher very often. So that part was actually a really good aspect of Fae Farm. I felt that it was very balanced. I want to quickly talk about the flower breeding in Fae Farm. I actually enjoy this a lot more than I thought I would. When I originally saw that you could breed flowers, I thought it would be kind of a headache. But it kind of became satisfying really fast, trying to do the different combinations. And I'll put a clip in here of the way I did it, but I basically just had it organized with different sections, and then I also would throw them into like a bigger plot in case I was getting kind of lazy and I just wanted some flowers to just form randomly on their own. This obviously works better the more different flowers you still haven't discovered yet. And I thought it was fun because you just got to kind of just discover different things you could make with the flowers. But I can also see why this part was not enjoyable for some people, because you kind of have to hope that a flower spawns between the two that you wanted, and there are quite a lot of flowers to get. But I don't think it's a bad system, it's just not for everyone, and I actually quite enjoyed it myself. Now I kind of want to talk about how the replayability and the repetitiveness of the game makes it not worth the $40 for me, in my opinion. While I did get about 117 hours out of the game, I feel like at least 30 to 40 of those hours were spent just repeating the day over and over again and finishing the day really fast, just to either have like the flowers spawn because you need to wait 3 days for them to grow, wait for the animals to get bred, or doing like different things like waiting for my crops. So a lot of the days that I spent in Fae Farm, along with some of the hours, were kind of just, okay, time to start the day, hurry up and go back to bed so that it can start a new day in the game so it can progress. So this makes those hours that I actually spent on the game worth less to me, because they weren't actually hours that I was spending truly like enjoying and playing the game. It was just hours I spent trying to get the achievements, which I am upset about because I wasn't able to get that achievement that I wanted with the animal breeding. Because every time you would do the color for each animal, it would become a bug in which it wouldn't count as part of the 20 animals that you had to breed. So this obviously is not a bug that would break the game or whatever, I guess, but it's a bug that keeps you from getting that achievement if you're going for all of the achievements. There are plenty of other bugs that I saw on the Reddit. Some people were having issues with their crops not growing. Some people's animals were straight up just disappearing from their farm and then being replaced with old animals that they had already sold, and just other things that made the game just not enjoyable for those people either. I just don't enjoy bugs like that kind of stop you from making progress. So that's why with $40 invested into the game and you don't really get everything that you had thought you were going to get in the first place because of the bugs, it kind of is a huge problem. Some of these Reddit posts that I've been seeing have been there for like over a month and this problem isn't even fixed yet. A month is quite a long time for a bug, especially one that prevents you from getting an achievement or completing certain aspects of the game. So this is definitely something to keep in mind when you do think about purchasing the game, because you don't want to have bugs that are going to prevent you from doing the things you want to do. And I'm sure there's plenty of other bugs that I don't know about, but these are the ones that I encountered and were most upsetting to me because it was what I was going for to finish the game. So in general, if you like the aesthetics of Fae Farm and you're not really focused on completing the game, you're not really focused on how much money it really costs, because I know for someone like me, I don't really want to be spending $40 on a game that doesn't give me everything it promises. And then on top of that, if you don't care for a linear story, like you don't mind going through it, the game would be fine for you. But if you're someone that likes to 100% your games, if you don't like game-breaking bugs, if you don't like that you didn't get your full money's worth of a game, I don't think Fae Farm is really worth it. And I've seen a lot of other people really say Fae Farm is like the best game they've ever played and it's incredibly fun for them. But I just don't think it's worth $40. It's just not worth that much money. So this completes my overall review of Fae Farm. Let me know what you guys think, because I know there's been a lot of debate on the Reddits and stuff about whether people like Fae Farm or not. It has a lot of complicated reviews due to the different opinions a lot of people have on this, and in my opinion it's one of the most polarizing farming sims I have seen. I've never seen this many people dislike a farming sim before, and quite a lot of people have regretted purchasing the game. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully you guys are enjoying Fae Farm. Let me know what you guys are thinking below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching.